Hello, welcome.
Hello. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Um, can you start off by introducing yourself, who you are, and what you want people to know about you?
My name is Charlene SanJenko. I am an Indigenous impact media producer, fascinated by the power of media as a trajectory change maker, and kind of dipping my toe around all sorts of creative people that are shifting the narrative through their work. Yeah.
Can you describe your experience of our Avalon Future of Story Fellows week?
Yes, it was it was very close to perfect. And I know that we're kind of brought up to not use the word perfect or perfection much, right? Like that it's a bad thing. But I think for what we needed most at that time to really feel nourished in every aspect of our being, just individually and collectively, it was a real interconnected experience that hit all of my senses and also crossed timelines and dimensions. And I don't really get those many opportunities to say that in this daily life that we lead. So I was just super, super grateful for every hour that we were there. Yeah.
What were your key insights or biggest takeaways from our time there?
I had to say the key thing that I walked away with from my lens, it would be that the media that is possible to shift the narrative for society will only come from healed creatives. That was what I walked away with, the importance of holding space, spending time together, building trust. We keep expecting a great product to come from perhaps not a great start, and really the importance of building friendships and teams and interconnections and relations, uh, from whole people and filmmakers and producers and writers. Yeah, that's what it's going to take to actually get the products that we're looking for, that I'm looking for. It is that end result. That was my key takeaway. There were many. There were many. Yeah.
How did you feel, if at all, like that healing progressed in yourself that week, or since, or before? How does the healing happen?
Well, I had been told before I left that it was necessary for me to take a solo walk in the desert. And I didn't realize it was going to happen quite so literally. Um, but I had actually been told that I was meant to take some time away individually and away from my team, away from my close relations. And what I realized was that sometimes the shifts that you need to make, you have to put all of the perfect ingredients into place to kind of make those shifts. I think we talked about the line in the sand that week. For me, it was going to a new place, meeting some people that I had not met before. Every part of what needed to be a transformative experience, like every ingredient that was needed for me felt like it was there, from from the meditation to the food, to the healthy food, the nourishment, all of those pieces were available. And the ripple of that week is still landing for me, like perhaps not only consciously, but like subconsciously, it's still landing for me.
Is there any way in which you've started to or plan to apply anything from that week to your work? And or do you think that your work has shifted anyway as a result of that time?
What comes up for me, first of all, is I think my work is as a result of being part of that week. We talked about how perhaps how our life experience is meant to be is back here. Oh, it's funny because it's blurred out, but back here is the known. It's the known because we have experienced it. But perhaps the real experience of life that we haven't been brought up to trust and to believe as the normal is that what's out front here is never known. It's always walking into the forest and just taking the next step. And we all talked about that maybe the known is only known because it is behind us and we've experienced it, but to walk into the unknown, just taking that next step and taking that next step is what the experience of life really about. And coming back from those type of conversations as a founder and a media visionary, and having these interesting conversations where finance and impact and marketing and branding and dollars and creatives all intersect, and there is no game plan in much of my work. It is an emerging industry. It helps me to feel more brave that perhaps this is the way forward. There isn't necessarily a pattern of where we're going. That's the whole point of change, you know? So those pieces helped me to just be and feel more brave in my daily work.
That's beautiful. Is there anything you want to share about how you're thinking about the future of story?
I think about it constantly. I do think about it constantly. From the stories that are in my own head to the stories we tell ourselves to the stories that we're in conversation of, the story that we want to tell ourselves about next year, you know, important the stories we surround ourselves with are make up so much of our reality and our perception of reality. I can't separate them. So for me, story is the way forward. It is the greatest change-making tool. It always has been. The simplest stories have been told for ages to teach us and guide us. And somehow throughout the years of also being entertained by them, which is amazing that they can make us laugh and cry and be at the edge of our seats, but we also have to remember that they are always meant to be experienced and unlock another piece of who we are and why we're here. So the purpose of story is just so prevalent and always on my mind every day.
Is there anything else you want people to know?
I think I think as we roll into the end of another year, I think the thing that I would have people know is that we're at a tipping point of the story where we are actually at the climax of our story. And I think that what happens next is hopeful, is possible, and it certainly has awoken us, as every good climax will. We are on our edge of our seats. We're not sure what will happen, but we're awake. We're definitely not sleeping through this part of the story now. And so its role has been fulfilled, because in the past we were asleep with our hand in the popcorn container, and now we're awake. But I do think that the next part of this story is very, very hopeful and exciting and full of possibility that we just didn't realize before, because we didn't need to, we didn't have to. We were very comfortable in exactly how it was, and just very happy watching the reruns. And I think that's the main thing for us, is just to really, really recognize the power of the stories that we're walking into next, for ourselves personally, in every conversation we have with each other, expecting absolute magic to happen in those conversations and those interactions, because every single one of them are little drops. The next scene writes itself, and the next scene writes itself. Yeah.
Where can people find you and your work?
Thank you for asking. Well, you can definitely find me in a small village on the west coast of the ocean, but you can find me online at powerhouse.com, POWHERHOUSE.com, and I'm excited that we're launching our new organization in the new year. So I definitely will ask you to stay tuned to that story as well.
Thanks, Charlene.
Thank you very much for having me.